and a song for the home we have tonight. And I always love this bookstore. It's kind of cool. Like it's got a kind of it's got a pub in it, basically. Come on, it's so cool. And so we'll sing one for this place. And I was so grateful to get to come back. And we'll try it like this one, I suppose. Well, I have wandered far too long. My weary bones are heavy spent. Now won't you lay me down to rest on a pillow fit for a journey's end, where my own father plowed the ground, and he set a table poor but proud. Oh, in the house where I was born, let my sleep be safe and warm, and in my heart so sadly sweet the dream of home, the dream of home. It touches my soul, too soft to fleet, when far o'er the sea or land I roam. And through all my days in foreign lands, through all my dark and distant nights, pictures of you were so close at hand, and thoughts of you would fill my mind. And though my passage has been long and staid, my first affections never fade. And though my course has been oft confused, so confused. I always giggle a bit when I sing that one. My way has always led to you, and in my heart so sadly sweet the dream of home, the dream of home. It touches my soul, too soft to fleet, when far o'er the sea or land I roam. Now when my story's all but told, oh, let the final chapter tell of victories in lands of gold, and how the mighty villains fell. But if I could hope for just one thing, one final chorus I could sing, well, I'd lift a cup with all my friends, and I'd cheer we made it home again, like you would in this spot here tonight. And in my heart, so sadly sweet the dream of home, the dream of home. It touches my soul, too soft to fleet, when far o'er the sea or land I roam. It touches my soul, too soft to fleet, when far o'er the sea or land I roam. A song for the Tattered cover here. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We do the chorus, or we start with the verse straight up?
I was just saying.
We can do it with the chorus, but that's like a learning thing. But I got faith. I have faith when we hit that first chorus. You're going to be with me. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Let's get it on. I was kind of an improper wind-up. I was just the age of 16 when I first went on the drive. After 6 months hard labor, at home I did arrive. I courted with a pretty girl, it was her caused me to roam. Now I'm a river driver and I'm far away from home. All together. Oh well, I'll eat when I am hungry and I'll drink when I am dry. Get drunk whenever I'm ready, get sober by and by. And if this river don't drown me, it's down I'll mean to roam. For I'm a river driver and I'm far away from home. I'll build a lonesome castle up on some mountain high, where she can sit and view me as I go passing by. Pretty vain. Where she can sit and view me as I go marching on. Where I'm a river driver and I'm far away from home. Come on then. I'll eat when I am hungry, and I'll drink when I am dry. Get drunk whenever I'm ready, get sober by and by. And if this river don't drown me, it's down I'll mean to roam. For I'm a river driver and I'm far away from home. Now when I am old and feeble and in my sickness lie, just wrap me up in a blanket and lay me down to die. And get a little bluebird to sing for me alone. For I'm a river driver and I'm far away from home. By yourselves, come on. I said I'll eat when I am hungry and I'll drink when I am dry.
Get drunk whenever I'm ready, get sober by and by. And if this river don't drown me,
my next rapper's gonna be hip hop.
It's down on me to roam. For I'm a river driver and I'm
far away from home. For I'm a river driver and I'm far away from home. Lovely. Take that, Tattered cover. Take that. Let's get it on. I'm going to read a couple we really got to on the road to tour was Stephenville, and we got to stay in a hotel. Really, for the first time in my life, I ever got to stay in a hotel like that didn't have like 10 dudes in it on a hockey tournament. And it was just, I like to read this little bit just because it's a good illustration for how naive a traveler I was at the time. Hold on, I gotta find it. 1 second. I should have looked this up. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yes, before that. Here it comes.
Page 1.
Page 1. Oh yeah, it's right here. I got it. Okay, so here we go. Somebody, they saying.
Hang it up.
It's like he's trying to find someone.
Thank you. Again, I'm new at this racket. So we made our way across Newfoundland, and in the most dubious of circumstances. Really, we had played a few gigs, like the odd gig, like a one-off in Gander or like Grand Falls or Clarenville or Carbonear or something like that. But really, our first sort of tour, we went across Newfoundland and started in Stephenville and made our way back around Newfoundland. And we didn't really. I had a van. I had like a red van. It was like it wasn't a caravan. It was whatever the Plymouth version of that was.
Voyager.
Thank you. Fact checker. Thank you. Those who don't know cars. Holy jeez. Right. It was that Jetson. What was it? Oh, F100. Oh, cool. Thank you so much. Anyway, but it broke down like about 3 days before I was supposed to go on this tour. My van.
Of course it did.
As it would. So we we did the tour in Daryl's like 8-year-old Honda Civic and Bob's 10-year-old Ford Festiva. So we set off across the province, and it's like, and we arrived at the at this hotel, and it's very dubiously renamed, and it's something I've learned since I've been doing this books racket, is that you spend an awful lot of time, you're trying to be careful, when you're writing a book, you're trying to hide people's identities or something, and then or places, or hotel names or whatever, or clubs or whatever, and then you go through and you're very careful. Okay, didn't say anything. Okay, got Buddy's identity hid. That's totally fine. And someone like the first day you do a press thing about the book, someone says, "Oh, so tell me about the guy you met in the bar." "Oh, that's Roger. Yeah, Roger lives." Oh shit. I call him Sam in the book, or whatever. And how excited I was to be at it. I stood there leaning on Sean's Festiva with my 2 feet in a pothole about 2 inches deep, rainwater seeping into my sneakers as I surveyed the castle that was Black's Motel. I took a deep breath and studied the flashing "Va Ansi" sign. The letters that did work flashed at irregular intervals, which, intentional or not, was a cool design feature. And I was certainly not about to let a poorly attended light bulb ruin this for me. All I could see was the luxury of it all. The narrow, scratched and dented doors were located conveniently right off the parking lot. Sure, we'd be able to load our stuff right in from the cars, right into the rooms after the gig. It was brilliant. And as I walked into our room, I noticed the doors were also nice and thin. So you'd be able to hear everything that was going on in the parking lot and across the way in the lounge too. The beds were definitely big enough for more than one person, but Sean and I had the place to ourselves. The sheets were almost see-through. Not like those thick flannel ones Mom gave me for our frat house in St. John's. So I knew I wasn't going to be too warm. The rotary dial phone was right between the two beds on a handy nightstand. It's fantastic. I went to check out the bathroom and was stopped mid-stride when I noticed 2 sinks. One on the wall in the room itself, and the other inside the bathroom with the toilet and the tub. Both had mirrors above them and had individually wrapped soaps in the soap holders. 2 sinks! 2 soaps, McCann! Yes, boy, wicked. 2 channels on the TV, too. Sean was already stretched out on the bed. Yes, deadly. And the toilet has been, wait now, the toilet has been, I had to get down on my hands and knees to read what was printed on the paper strap holding the lid and the sink together. Oh, 1 second, the toilet has been sanitized for our protection. Pretty upscale, I thought. Tickle, Cove Pond. Do you guys know this song? It's one of my favorite tunes for Newfoundland. And Tickle, Cove Pond's a real place. Up by Amherst Cove and area, up by Trinity and Bonavista down that peninsula. And the Oldfords are a real family that still live out that way. And this tells the story of, I wonder if it's probably do the same thing in this part of the world, do they? Do they haul? Like traditionally years ago, did they haul firewood across frozen ponds and stuff down here? You would have done that, wouldn't you? Yeah. And so anyway, and this is a horsey kind of place, you know what I mean? It's way more horses here than we got. Speaking of which, let me tell you something before we go on to that about horses. It's crossed my mind. About really the biggest lie I ever told in my life. Like, and it was big. It was when I got the gig to do this movie, the Robin Hood movie, where they wanted a looty, Irishy sounding fella to be in the movie. And I got the gig, I got the chance to go do the read through in LA, and then I met the director and all those guys and the producers. And I remember like I brought a lute and I could play it, and I sang all the stuff they wanted me to sing, and it sounded Irishy. And they were quite happy, and it was like, so they sat down and I said, "Mal, I think we'd like to offer you this part." And I was like, "Well, it's awesome, great, love to do that. This is so cool, it's so great." So and we can see you're comfortable with the lute. Oh yeah. Yeah. And if we ask you to write some stuff on the spot, and sing some stuff on the spot, you're comfortable doing that? Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and Russell tells me your horse riding is good. Yes. Yes, it is. I'm from, and you know what I said, which makes it even worse. As I said, oh yeah, I'm from Petty Harbor, so yeah, you know. And the guys they're both guys from LA, they all said, "Huh, I guess so." I was like, there's 2 fellas that have never been to Petty Harbor in their lives. Because if you've ever been to Petty Harbor, I mean, I don't know where you put a horse. Like they'd have to have 2 short legs and 2 long ones. I could hear I could hear the cock crow behind me in the distance. Just this sell your soul type thing. So I just did it just then. I heard the bell toll. Yes, I'm a great horse rider. Tickle Cove Pond.
Had you ever been on a horse?
You know what? No. No, I hadn't. I really had not ever ridden a horse in my life. But then that was in like Christmas time, like early December or something, and they were to start like principal of photography in April. So I was like,
Better take
I was like, man, I can learn how to ride a horse between now and April, definitely. No, you can't. No, you cannot. And by the end of the movie film, I got to be just about awful. It was so funny with the horse trainer guys on the movie. I showed up orders like, this is in April now, after I'd done a bunch of lessons and riding and training and everything, right? And he goes, yeah, so riding the horses, this guy, Steve Dent was his name, ran the horse world for the movie. Jump up on, you got the fast, Hofer horse, whatever his name was. It was Steed, like, And I was like, no problem. I get up on him, ride around the yard. Well, jump down, jump down, jump down. Another lion actor. Looks out this whole horse is about as wide as a couch. That's your horse for this movie. It was so awesome. It was my first movie, and it was the horses. His name was, I forget his name. Yeah, it was his 72nd movie. And he spent his whole life with like actors on him, like bad riders on his back. And it was so, and the way they always do it is the stunt guys, like say for example, if the horse had to run through here and jump over the thing or whatever, the stunt guys would run the horse through the scene probably 5 times. So the horse knows what to do, and because he knows when the stunt guys are on, because they're good. And then Johnny Luke player gets on. I can't tell you how many times I was riding that horse and he went, just shifted his hips so I wouldn't. Get me back up on his back. I swear to God, I could hear him go, like, I've been going like, all right, let's go this way. He's like, I think you mean this way. That's right, yeah. The cliff. I think so. Come this way. Tickle Cove Pond. Jeez, boys. Shut up. No trouble to talk, is it?
One evening.
How's it go?
One evening.
No, that's the one I just said.
One evening.
Yeah.
April.
In Cutton and Holland. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hollandwood across the ice. In Cutton and Holland, in frost and in snow, we're up against troubles that few people know. It's only by courage and patience and grit and eating clean food that we keep ourselves fit. The hard and the easy we take as they come, and when ponds freeze over we shorten our runs. To hurry my Holland with spring coming on, I ne'er lost me a mare out on Tickle Cove Pond. So lay hold William Olford, lay hold William White, lay hold of the cordage and pull all your might, and lay hold of the bowline and pull all you can, and give me a lift with poor kid on the pond. Well, I knew that the ice grew weaker each day, but I still took the risk and kept hauling away. One evening in April, bound home with a load, my mare showed some halting against the ice road. She knew more than I did, as matters turned out. It had been lucky for me had I joined her in doubt. She turned round her head and with tears in her eyes, as if she were saying, you're risking our lives. Oh, but this I ignored with a whip handle blow, for a man is a stupid, dumb creature, you know. And the very next moment the pond gave a sigh, and up to our necks went poor Kitty and I. So lay hold William Olford, lay hold William White, lay hold of the cordage and pull all your might, and lay hold of the bowline and pull all you can, and give me a lift with poor kid on the pond. And if I had taken wise Kitty's advice, I ne'er would have made that shortcut on the ice. Now poor creature, she's dead, Poor creature, she's gone. I'll ne'er get my mare out of Tickle Cove Pond. But I raised an alarm you could hear for a mile, and neighbors showed up in a very short while. And you can always rely on the old Fords and Whites to render assistance in all your sad plights. To help a kind neighbor is part of their lives, and the same can be said for their children and wives. And with the ropes fastened around the mare's breast, William White for a shanty song made a request. There was no time for thinking, no time for delay, and straight from his heart came this song right away. Lay ho, William O'Ford, lay ho, William White, lay hold of the cordage and pull all your might, and lay hold of the bowline and pull all you can. And with that we took it out of Tickle Cove Pond. What a wicked song. I always love that song. It's one of those songs that sort of, like I always talk about, like in the writing and stuff in Newfoundland, and the songs and the history and the books and the plays and the stories, and it was one of the ones. That's a really good example of how Newfoundlanders kind of had to record their history in song. Like that happened, you know. And I just love that, because most of the towns, like where I grew up, we didn't have a library, and certainly in my parents' generation, they wouldn't have had a library. They wouldn't have had a newspaper, you know. So that was the, you know, that was the news. Now, let me read one more bit for you. Nova Scotia is actually not that much not like Newfoundland. I thought it would be, you know. And that Saskatchewan people are a lot like Newfoundlanders, and I thought they wouldn't be. And, you know, and then everything you go across, and that the language barrier in Quebec is bigger than I would have imagined. And then you know, and then like in every province I went to, I learned something about it that I was surprised to or not. And then every time we go back, I came back home, I would think of home slightly different, and I still do that. Everywhere I go, I think when I go home, I take something that makes me change my mind about what Newfoundland is like, or you know, some piece of geography is different than I assumed it would be, or our opinions about something is actually right on the money or is not, you know, and that's the beauty of travel, and that's why I love doing it, I suppose, so much. Like I tell the story about, you know, I lived my whole, from about age 18 or so, I lived in St. John's, right, and through university and all that, and I hiked around Signal Hill, and the steps going up the back of Signal Hill hundreds of times. And it was a bit of a hill, you know, but it's like, if you're from Petty Harbour, you're kind of used to hills, you know. But I remember coming back from the prairies, like, and being on the prairies for the first time, and the, you know, where the sky starts out this window over here in the van, and it's still sky over there, you know, and like, I'd never seen anything like it, you know, like. And I remember flying back from Saskatchewan on a gig or whatever, and the airplane flying over the backside of Signal Hill, and I saw the steps that I'd climbed hundreds of times. And I went like, all of a sudden it looked like the Great Wall of China or something. And I understood what was so special about it, you know, and so, but in the midst of all that loveliness, and, you know, educational beauty and joy, you know, we were still a band, and we made some poor choices. Now, let's see. Do you guys know the chorus?
Yes.
Let's get it on. Let's see here now. Thank you so much. Yeah, look at that. So it goes, Sonny lives on a farm, on a wide open space. You can take off your sneakers and give up the race. And you can lay down your head by a sweet riverbed. And Sonny always remembers what it was his mama said. And the chorus goes like this. Sonny, don't go away. I am here all alone. And your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. And the nights get so long, and the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired, I'm not all that strong. Well, Sonny carries a load, but he's barely a man. And there ain't all that to do, still he does what he can. And he watches the sea from a room by the stairs, and the waves keep on rolling. They've done that for years. Well, Sonny, don't go away. I am here all alone. And your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. And the nights get so long, and the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. I'm not all that strong. Well, it's 100 miles from town, and Sonny's never been there. But he goes to the highway, and he stands there and stares. And the mail comes at 4. And the mailman is old, but he still dreams his dreams, full of silver and gold. And Sonny, don't go away. I am here all alone. And your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. And the nights get so long, and the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. I'm not all that strong. Now, Sonny's dreams can't be real. They're just stories he's read. They're just stars in his eyes, and they're just dreams in his head. And he's hungry inside for that wide world outside, and I know I can't hold him, though I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. Though Sonny, don't go away. I am here all alone. And your daddy's a sailor who never comes home. And the nights get so long, and the silence goes on, and I'm feeling so tired. I'm not all that strong. Thank you so much, everybody. How about a round of applause for the kind folks at Tattered Cover? And thanks to Laura and everybody at Paper and Random House Canada for getting us all down here and getting us all together. Thanks, everybody.